Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Danny Vittori, the news director here, and on today's edition we have two people from St. George Greek Orthodox Church. We have George Kalliavas and Anita Russia. Yep. Yes. So we have two members, so thank you for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having us.
Oh, of course. And would you mind just saying what your roles are within the church?
Anita?
I'm actually on the board of the St. George Philoptochos Society, which is a philanthropic organization within the church. But at festival time, I'm the chair lady of the pastry booth, and we're getting ready for the festival.
And I'm the vice president of the St. George Greek Council, and we're pretty much in charge of day-to-day operations for the church.
Awesome. That sounds really cool. And so you mentioned you have a big festival coming up, the Grecian Festival.
Yes.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
Very exciting Labor Day weekend. We're back for the first time since 2019 with our annual festival. Funny story, actually not funny, during the pandemic we were in lockdown and there were so many parameters for places of worship. We'd literally have people from all over the community coming to the front door, their mask on, asking if we're having the festival this year. So we're back after 3 years, Labor Day weekend, September 2nd through the 4th. So we start Friday night at 5 p.m. and we don't shut down till Sunday evening at 11 when we're done.
Wow. And I'll ask a little bit, how did the festival begin? How did you start it?
We were actually talking about that about an hour ago. When I was little, a child, we had what we called the picnic every year at Labor Day. And then I think in 1969,
Summer of 69.
they moved it to the church grounds and renamed it a festival rather than a picnic. So it's right in back of the church.
That's awesome. I did not realize it had been going on for that long.
We've actually been doing, our church is very much known for Labor Day weekend, the Grecian Festival, clearly the pastries and the food and the music. But years ago, we started the whole process by having a raffle. Sometime in the 1950s, we actually procured a Cadillac, brand new Cadillac, and bought it to raffle off for the church. And that tradition continued till we established what we still do today, which is a $25,000 grand prize for our raffle. And it's widely known not only throughout the Lynn community, but throughout New England as one of the largest raffles for any church organization during a festival or a picnic, as Anita stated.
That's awesome. I was going to ask you still at the Cadillac, but
We don't do the Cadillac anymore,
No more
but it's
Cadillac.
cash now,
Yeah.
so
That's still good.
we'll take that.
And people can enter into the raffle by going to the festival?
Tickets are sold in advance. If you know somebody, if you need some, reach out, and certainly the day of.
Yeah.
And how does admission work for the festival? You mentioned how long it goes, but...
Well, I think it's free during the day, isn't it?
It's free during the day. After 4 p.m. it's $3 for adults, and kids are always free.
Yeah.
Oh, great. That's great. So very much in all ages,
Yeah.
kind
All
of thing.
ages.
Yeah. And you mentioned a little bit about it, but what kind of food and entertainment will you have?
Well, there's a lot of traditional Greek-style food. The lamb shanks are very popular, the Greek sausage, lokaniko. They do chicken kebabs, souvlaki, which is usually pork. Spinach pie, which we call spanakopita in Greece. Lots of people know that. We have a pasta casserole known as pasticcio. That's very popular, and of course all the pastries.
Don't forget the gyro.
And the gyro, there are going to be gyro sandwiches, which everybody calls gyro, but we call gyro all weekend. So,
Great. That sounds a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And in terms of entertainment, do you have different entertainers every day? Is it the same? Is it?
So Friday night we'll start with a local DJ, sort of bring in some of the younger crowd on a Friday night. There'll be traditional Greek music. There'll be more modern music, if you will. We'll have a live Greek band on Saturday and Sunday, and also some additional DJs. We'll have a traditional Greek dance troupe that comes every year. And for the younger folks, we have some rides for the children as well, and we'll have vendors, outside of our church organization who'll also be there, selling some pretty intricate stuff, everything from jewelry to things of that nature.
Wow, you got everything
We've
here.
got it all.
This sounds fun. I definitely want to go to this. And I'll shift a little bit to the church itself. a little, maybe, do you know any of its history, like when it first came here? Or how it's
We
grown?
actually just celebrated our centennial recently.
Oh, awesome.
We were just honored by
Great.
the Archdiocese for being open for over 100 years here in the city of Lynn, as a matter of fact. So,
That's awesome. Congratulations.
and if you've
on
not
that.
been, the church is absolutely beautiful. It's this wonderful mix between classic New England and Byzantium architecture. It is absolutely breathtaking. You literally have, America's version of the Sistine Chapel right down the
Really?
street in
Yeah.
Lynn.
Oh, really?
Our walls are adorned with hand-painted iconography done in
Yeah.
the Byzantine style. It's
Wow.
absolutely breathtaking if you've never seen it.
That sounds incredible. And specifically, where are you located? Like you said down the street, but what was the address?
We're at 54 South Common Street, so right across the street from the old Classical High School.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that is. And you mentioned that you're a volunteer, so it sounds like you're really big into outreach into the community as well.
Well, we recruit, at least I do, for the pastry process. I get on the phone, I call all my old fellow teachers, retirees, and I have a good group of about 15 to 20 people who come down.
That's awesome.
Dozens and dozens of volunteers are needed for a project of this size. So it's not only, as Anita said, it's not just parishioners, it's friends, it's family. My children, my wife will be at the festival working. The prep involved we're talking about 7,000 to 10,000 people over the course of a weekend. So the prep involved, and it's, again, not only folks from within the church, but volunteers from outside. We've got folks who donate everything from product to time. We've got over 60, I think, sponsors this year to help us with the festival. So it's really a community effort. And as much as it's the Grecian Festival of St. George Orthodox Church, it's really our parish priest, Father George, likes to call it the Great Lynn Festival, because it really is, it's about the community, as I mentioned earlier.
No, I love that. I love the idea of it's a whole community thing. And you did mention the prep, and I'll ask you, like, in general, but also you were talking about the pastry prep earlier. I have to ask about this because this just sounds crazy.
It is crazy. We have people who come every single year for that one specific pastry that they love, and we work hard. I think I mentioned we made 3,000 cookies the first week we baked. We made 1,500 the second week. This week we're doing the baklava, which everyone loves, so it's a lot of cookies. And we usually sell out late Saturday, so if people want pastry, they need to realize that if they come Sunday, there might not be any left.
Come early.
Yeah, come early, come often.
Really come on and get the
Anita
pastries.
mentioned the traditional Greek spinach pie we call spanakopita. Just to get through the festival, we'll make over 360 one-pound spinach pies. Takes about 10 to 12 people, about 3 or 4 hours just to do that portion of it. And that's just, again, we're talking about 2 menu items.
Yeah.
We've got dozens of items that require as much love and effort as the aforementioned ones.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like just such a huge community process to really go into it, to get into it. And I love being able to hear about something like that. And I'll ask you what your role, and then what would your role be? You're part of the council, so how are you involved?
On the church council, so we do a lot of the general organizing, a lot of the vendors, a lot of the operational side of it, kitchen equipment, everything from the condition of the parking lot to the lighting, things you don't think about, right?
Right.
The renting of, facilities and storage, pots and pans, from the simplest things to the biggest things, takeout containers. But beyond that, we're also putting on aprons and rolling up our sleeves, because every good Greek boy grew up in his mother's kitchen learning how to cook. And during the day of the festival, you'll find us slicing gyros and grilling chicken and putting plates together for the community. So.
That's great. And like you said, you think of all the stuff that no one really thinks about when they're there, but you notice if it wasn't there.
Right.
That's one of those things. But that's great. That's awesome. And I'll ask in general, is there anything else you'd want to say about the festival, about the involvement? Anyone who'd be interested?
Well, I think it's an opportunity for people to get together with old friends, old Sunday school classmates. It's just kind of fun to get down there and see, especially for people who don't live in Lynn anymore. We get a lot of people who come back for the festival, and it's a happy event when we all see each other again.
That's great. I love that. You said a big gathering.
Yes,
sort of thing.
yeah.
It's a 3-day party.
Yeah.
There you go. Who could say no to that, right? And I want to thank you again, too, for coming on to talk about it, to really spread the message about what it is.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate the opportunity and the exposure. And again, it's September 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, right on South Common. Come on by.
Thank you so much. Thank you again. And once again, my name is Danny Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown. Please join us next week with more guests.